All right, guys. Welcome back to 3H Podcast. Graham, Chase here. What is this, fifth episode?
Fifth
Fifth
episode.
episode. Knocking them out. Today, we actually have our first outside of the shop guest on, Austin Foster from Rocky Ridge Ammo. Welcome, man.
Man, thanks for having me. Appreciate
Absolutely, man. This is exciting. We've been talking about having some guests on for a while and excited to have you on. No better way to kick off the first guest than to have you here, man. So,
it. Hey, y'all were, I think y'all were the first. You and Robertson Tire, y'all was the first stores that I was in. I
awesome.
mean,
Well,
very first.
that's awesome.
I think I dropped them off at Chase's first.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Ground floor, man.
Yeah.
Ground floor. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Day one.
Yeah. So for people that don't know Rocky Ridge Ammo or you, Austin, give them a little introduction. Just, who you are, kind of a little background about you, what Rocky Ridge is. And for nobody that doesn't have a clue about Rocky Ridge Ammo, kind of give them a little intro about what's going on.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm Austin Foster. Just live in Berta, Arkansas. There's no population sign. There's probably just 100 people maybe or less live in the community. I got a wife and 3 kids, 2 boys and a little girl. Just had her in September.
Awesome, man.
Been married. Man, this will be
Uh-oh. We got that. Never mind.
year 11. Year 11.
We can edit
man,
that.
it's
We can
been-
edit that out later.
It's been good. It's been good. Laura's been good to me. Rocky Ridge Ammo it started from just basically like I watched the podcast he's talking about kind of your Cerakoting journey and everything. It kind of started out the same way, but it's a TSS shot shell manufacturing. We hand load turkey loads, from 410 all the way up to we actually do some 10 gauge stuff now.
For those men out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we sold some at NWTF to kids that were
Oh, God.
not kids; they were of age to buy.
Yeah.
But
Disclaimer.
yeah, but they had old single shot 10 gauge. And he sent me a picture of it. And I said, "Man, how'd it kick?" And he said, "Wasn't that bad." So I was like, "Well, that's good."
Makes me feel inadequate
Yeah,
now hearing that.
We TSS shot shells. We basically strictly turkey loads. We do some predator loads. Got a few waterfowl.
Okay.
Hand loads and stuff like that, which is it's kind of hard to keep up making hand loads for waterfowl.
Yeah.
But
Could not imagine.
yeah, that's kind of what we do.
Okay. So turkey hunting, do a few things, but turkey hunting is your wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Been turkey hunting.
Well, that's
yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah. Been turkey hunting your whole life.
I killed my first one when I was 9.
There you go.
Um,
Who got you into turkey hunting?
It was definitely my dad.
Yeah.
My dad did. He didn't turkey hunt growing up. So he hunted. He dog hunted. He ran rabbits. He had bird dogs, deer dogs. I mean, basically everything like that. Is as far as I know, and as far as he knows, he was probably the first foster to kill a deer. In the ones that we know.
Awesome.
Of course, you think, well, that sounds pretty crazy, but I guess back in the 50s,
Yeah, it's a different landscape.
50s to early 60s, I mean, there wasn't
No.
a lot of deer.
The deer population we know in the generation right now that knows is not the
they
same.
don't have
world.
a clue.
Mm-mm.
They don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was, and he did that, and he got introduced from my mom's dad, Rufus Garner, and of course, same thing. My grandpa grew up in a time, Depression era, things like that, where you hunted for everything. I mean, everything you ate
came from the woods.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was him and his 3 brothers, and they was running up and down Dutch Creek, just probably wreaking havoc. I can imagine. I mean, there was some.
Probably still some of the same things that go on in Yale County now, but yeah. But they were feeding their family to
They
do
was.
it.
They was.
Exactly.
I remember he'd tell me stories all the time about, they'd get off school bus and make their way back to the house or whatever. Of course, then I guess school bus just dropped them off the highway, where then they had to walk back to the house. And he said they hunted the whole way. And I remember him telling stories about, eating robins and birds and stuff like that. Well, as a kid, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the coolest thing ever. So
Right.
I've probably my grandma she'd fry those robins up. I'd kill 'em. I bet I've eaten more robins than anybody y'all know. I mean, hands down, hands
They
down.
good? That how they
Yeah,
taste?
they really
Okay,
are.
not
It's
bad.
kind of it's surprising. It's kind of a I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like a roast.
Hmm.
It's a dark meat.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Kinda
Okay.
like Dove, similar?
yeah,
Yeah.
little bit.
Good to
They're
know.
good.
There you
Yeah,
go.
you might need to try that out
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. So got started turkey hunting at a young age, man. How'd you get into the of course, I'm sure turkey hunted most of your life. How'd you get into starting to hand load and loading TSS?
Yeah,
Of course,
turkey hunting
TSS
was.
just changed the game completely, didn't it? When
Oh
it hit
yeah,
the landscape, it
it's
just, yeah,
there's no comparison.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, yeah, turkey hunting just. I think the hand loading and came from wanting to be more effective in the woods.
Yeah,
I mean, it was kind of back 2000 2017. I man, I had a really good deer hunting, like killing the biggest deer ever. I quit early because I was tagged out doing the right thing,
yeah,
and thought I needed to do something because I mean turkey hunting then was tough,
I know.
especially in our
Yeah,
area. I mean it's getting a little better, and we'll
yeah,
probably talk about that later. But
yeah,
it was tough, and I wanted to make sure that every time I went in the woods, I had the most effective setup that I could have in my gun. I mean, I knew I was going to be doing the part hunting,
right,
calling,
right.
and trying to get set up right and stuff like that. But I wanted to make sure that I had the most effective
Well,
shell combo.
right. The opportunities were just
Very slim.
limited
Yeah, and
compared to what they used to then.
if you had
You had to
if you had
capitalize.
a yeah, you had to make sure that you got him down.
Yeah,
And man, I heard about it like on the. I was just researching, best turkey loads, which I was shooting Longbeard XRs, which as far as a
yeah. Lead,
lead turkey load, I think they're the best.
right? A lead mass production turkey load. Yeah,
I
they're
think they're the
pretty
best,
solid. Yeah,
and shot them for years, killed a truckload of them with it. But I wanted, I knew there was more,
hmm,
and kind of got to researching, figured out about tungsten. Couldn't buy it. You couldn't buy loaded tungsten
no,
shells. I couldn't. I never. I didn't know of anywhere to get them. Well, research found a forum talking about hand loading stuff, which you can find out there right now. But met some people, and got some recipes. Well, it never failed. I couldn't get what I needed for that recipe. Like it's just like making a cake or whatever. You got to have your eggs and your flour and all that stuff. Well, it's just like loading shotgun shells. You got to have these holes, these wads, this powder, all this stuff. Well, it never failed. I couldn't get what I needed, so I was just loading something up and going out there and shooting it and hoping I didn't blow myself up. It's kind of one of those. I remember the first one I shot because I was always loading 3.5s, and I was like, man, this could be the one. This could be the one that maims me for the rest of my life.
yeah,
But no, I have never blown a gun up, but it just, I just made one day and I shot it and I was like, whoa, that's incredible. I
yeah,
had a pretty open choke. I think I had 675 or something like that, which I had been shooting like a 650 with the Longbeards.
yeah.
And the shot is so funny. It's so funny thinking about, what I was doing then
Yeah, oh,
to
yeah.
obviously how it is now, where it's just like,
It's science now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, you were learning, man,
oh gosh.
and it was something one of those few areas that happen in firearms and the hunting industry that it's new and
Well,
there's not a lot of information out.
hardly any
Yeah.
information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was getting, the shot I was getting it was like 8.5s now, but it was like rough. Like it was all different shapes, all different. I mean, I think it was like from a 6 to a 9.
Just kind of dumped
Just
it in there.
dumped it in a bag
Yeah.
and said, "Here you go, pal.
Hmm.
Here's your tungsten shot." And I shot a bunch of that and killed my first turkeys with my loads with that stuff. And I think it was so I did that in the winter of 17. Well, then I didn't really know how effective it was. Like, you see them little old BBs and you think, man, this is,
Looks awful small.
yeah, it
Of
looks
course,
kind of
at the
small.
time, we're comparing it to lead
You're
shot.
comparing it to 4, 5, and 6s, which what everybody else used. And ended up one morning going out, and turkeys come in, and there's one come in, and it's coming across. And I was like, all right, I'm going to let him have it. Well, he gets by at like 20 steps. And this other turkey, I went to move on him. Well, this other one, I didn't see him, and he saw me. Well, he takes off running down the ridge. Well, he gets down there about 50 yards, and he's fixing to take off flying. I was like, here we go. Let's try this out. Well, he puts his head down, and he gets his wings out, and he's just about to take off. Well, I shot. And when I shot, it looked like you went over there and poked him with a pin, and he just deflated, and his wings were still out. And I mean, he never flopped, he never moved. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, this is unreal.
Your longbeards probably wouldn't have performed
No,
quite that
not
way.
like that.
Not like that.
Not
no.
like that. And I was like, these are for real. Well, then it just kind of evolved from there. I told the Frost, Lane and Kyle Frost about it. And they were probably actually the Lane and Kyle and Billy were the first people that ever shot my stuff, like, of anybody. I mean, my family turkey hunts they'd been shooting their stuff. They
didn't.
no,
They knew you too well.
yeah,
huh?
they
Like,
didn't. They wasn't shooting them, but the
Yeah,
Frost
yeah.
boys, they didn't care.
Awesome, yeah.
They was going to shoot them,
Awesome.
and it worked out. And I mean, they killed them,
Yeah.
slew of them with it, and it just kind of
Snowball from there.
Yeah, it really did.
Kind of
Really
segue.
did.
So, how did you end up starting to like bringing them to the market for people? What made you think, hey, I want to actually start loading these enough in a quantity enough that
Well,
I can sell to people?
It went back to those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget one Sunday morning. I was sitting in church, and it was after they had went. I think they'd went to Missouri and Kansas, and their dad Billy comes over to me and puts his arm around me. He's pretty quiet spoken, but you listen when he's talking. And he puts his arm around me. He said, "Son, you probably ought to think about selling them shells." I was like, "Really?" He said, "They're unreal." And I thought, well, if he'll put his stamp of approval on them, I'll try to.
Yep.
Well, then I think that was like 2019. Well, then 2020, I kind of started getting a little bigger, selling. And then I think I'm trying to remember. It wasn't like at the time when I was loading them, I was cutting everything with a knife. I mean, I was cutting the wads with a knife. I cut my finger, guys. I couldn't even tell you how many times. And cutting the holes, trimming holes down to length with a knife, and cutting the wads with a knife, and measuring everything on a single. I had an old Hornady single scale, and I'd weigh everything out one at a time. Well, I'd weigh the shot pellets, weigh the powder, everything on that scale, just one at a time. And I mean, it took forever to do.
But that's what you had.
That's all I had.
Yeah.
And hey, and they did good. I mean, those shells were they were legit.
Kind of similar to Cerakoting
in the oven.
In the old kitchen oven.
Yeah.
Home oven.
I mean,
yeah,
really,
exactly.
Really, it is.
Yeah, you use what you got at the time and you make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I remember loading the first ones, and the very first one I made, we lived in a trailer house back behind where we live at now, and it had a little shed, like it was probably a 6 foot wide by 10 foot long, just a little. It was the guy that had it before we did, built a little lean-to on it, and he never finished it out. So I hung some insulation in there and put some OSB up, and there was an old door in there that I'd made a reloading table out of.
Oh, yeah.
And the very first shell I loaded, all I had was a hand drill with a roll crimper on the end, and I was holding that shell in my hand, and I was trying to crimp that. I didn't have a hole vise like that. I crimped it by hand, literally by hand, and it looked like somebody had chewed on the end of that thing. It was so roughed up on the end and stuff, but
Well, come a
It's
long
shot.
way
Oh
since there,
man,
man.
looking back now, it's like I can't believe I can't believe that somebody even wanted to try that, much less think it was good, you know. But it's pretty awesome to
Well, it's kind of
reflect
like when
back.
you first started Cerakote. If you could put good products out there, no matter
Yeah,
where it comes from or who's making it, if you got quality products out there and people find out,
yeah,
people are gonna find
yeah.
out.
It don't matter,
They're gonna tell everybody, and they're gonna find out.
and that's exactly kind of how it started. I mean, just there like three or four guys, you know, and then the next thing you know, it was they're telling three or four guys, and then I mean, pretty much the first up until last year, it was all local.
Yeah.
Like the I think it was 22. How many years I've been in the store?
Since
Is this
20,
three? Is this year
yeah,
three?
no, you've been in there since 21, so
So this is going to be year
4,
four.
yeah.
Okay, so the year before that was probably the defining when I thought I can make this work.
Mm.
And that I think that year you're talking about was basically all local. I mean, there
Mhm.
wasn't any. I mean, I think that Robertson had some, but they didn't. I think they sold like 100 boxes. But I think that year I sold like 600 boxes, and I thought, I mean, it was literally all in the River Valley.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember when you first brought them that year, I think it was 21, and you brought me some, and then you said you was taking some to Robertson's Tire
Had them
and
in the bags.
had them in the bags. Yeah.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
bags to boxes.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was loading them and sticking them in a Ziploc bag.
I think we sold
Oh,
maybe
really?
I think 160 boxes that year was the first year.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, how long did it take you to make a box or a bag back then versus now? The streamlined
Oh
process. What do you
man,
think?
honestly, just it wasn't significantly longer. Like if I'm just sitting there doing it, but just the scale.
Oh, yeah.
Like at the time, I would be loading like 3 boxes. Where now, you know, I'll get everything ready, and I may do 250.
Yeah.
You know, and just have them laid out everywhere. I've just it's funny because like when I started doing it, didn't have a clue, but like as I've started growing and things like that, like it feels like I'm doing the right thing, and that's something I'm supposed to be doing because I've had it too easy, you know, like everything. Like if I've needed something, or I thought, man, I could improve this right here, I could get faster right here, it just appears. I mean, like whether it be cutting holes, cutting wads, you know, my TSS suppliers, getting boxes, getting insurance, you know,
Yep.
stuff like that. It's just like, bam, it just it just happens for me.
Awesome.
And so it's kind of one of those things where I just feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or these things wouldn't be
Right.
lining up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, and people ask me all the time, so I'm going to ask you: did you ever thought it would be where it's at now when
not
you
a
first started
chance.
doing it?
I thought I was too late. I thought I was too late
To the game.
to the game, but
Everybody jumped on kind of board at the same time you're
yeah.
talking about. But I mean, well, I mean, again, quality speaks for itself. We've got a
Mhm.
whole of a ammo company at the
Mhm.
shop right now that's
Mhm.
had significant problems.
Mhm.
And they're a
Yep.
big name brand.
Exactly. And
Oh yeah, I know. And
yeah.
and the thing is,
So it doesn't just because they got that name out there doesn't mean it's
no,
quality.
and people, you know, that stuff. I'm not gonna say it never
Right.
happens
Yeah.
because it can.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter, you know, who it is doing stuff or what it is. I mean, components fail.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that happens, whether it be your primer fail or you know have a bad hole. I mean, things like that happen. I mean, obviously, I try to thankfully not had anything like that serious happen or anything
Right.
like that. Maybe had some, you
But
know,
you
minor mishaps,
are
but
aware that things can happen.
it
Yeah.
can.
Hmm.
And, you know, you try to limit that and I limit that by being involved. I don't just have somebody in there rolling up shells. And I think that's where
Yep.
that stuff happens
Absolutely.
is
Yep.
when,
Well, I think the instance we're talking about, we're not naming any companies or anything, but I think the instance we're talking about when they got back down to it, they had outsourced a bunch of loading.
Mm-hmm.
They did. They had to outsource
Yeah.
it because they were getting too far behind in
Yeah,
production,
and
and
that's
whoever they outsourced it to screwed it up.
yeah,
And
and that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something. I don't want to say it's a growing pain, but I mean that could be a sign of getting too big, too fast.
fast.
right.
And some of these companies that are doing what I'm doing, you know, there's a couple of them out there that have probably grown too fast,
Mm-hmm.
and they're having to outsource that stuff to keep up with demand, whether it be going into big box stores or, you know,
Yep.
keeping up with
And not
the
that they
supply.
intentionally do it, the quality
No,
control
no, no.
usually
They're. I mean, I'm
suffers.
sure
Yeah.
they're just
No.
as good a guys as we are,
Right.
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Quality control, though, when you do that, suffers, though, like you just said,
Mhm.
because they're not in there
Mhm.
while they're rolling it. You know,
Exactly.
you're not involved.
Well, I think that's the hardest thing is as business owners too, is taking that chance to give somebody the opportunity to do something that your name's on.
Yeah.
You know, like when I let Graham come in and
Shoot, he
start
wouldn't
doing
let me
laser
paint a
work.
gun for 4 months.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah, but
it's
I mean,
just
looking
no,
back, would
exactly.
you have let yourself
No,
paint
I
a
would
gun?
not have.
yeah, exactly.
Hey, you know, I
You
still
know,
question myself every
Yeah.
day. So
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and you're going to.
yeah,
And I questioned myself. I was like, did I do that right? You know, I mean, just last night I was double checking, triple checking everything. You know, powder loads and everything like that, and I found one that I thought, man, that was just not quite what I want it to be, and it was safe. I mean, it was a safe load, but I thought I'm not gonna, I'm gonna, and I dumped out 10 holes that I had,
yeah.
already loaded.
There's a
Just
standard there.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
Mhm.
just trying to be extra precautious because I don't want nothing to happen to nobody or
Right.
I mean anything like
Well,
that.
and you want them to have the best performing
Mhm.
performance shell, like we were talking about, like you're talking about, like the efficiency. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you just got back, didn't you, from a trip last weekend?
I did.
Tell the people where you were.
We we loaded up the vans and we went
Mhm.
to Nashville to the Music City.
Burn it down.
We didn't burn it down.
Oh, okay.
We
All right.
didn't burn it down. We had a good time.
Good
We had
deal.
a good time. Everybody had fun. Man, that if have y'all ever been?
No.
You need to go.
Talking about the NWTF convention, by the way, people
Yeah,
that want
yeah.
so.
The Nashville NWTF convention. Yeah, you guys should go.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I think
Just
it'd be something good for us to bring some hydro dip stuff. You
dude,
know what I mean, or
you can get a
Cerakote
booth in
stuff.
there.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
I
Yeah.
we
mean,
need
no
to.
kidding. Hey, there's a spot right beside us.
Would you set up? Yale County, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd hold it down.
Yeah.
But no kidding, it would be something cool because there's not a ton of them people in there. I mean, it's just like the hand loaded ammo. I mean, there's only like 3 or 4 of them.
Probably Rob
3 or 4 of
Roberts
us
about
in
the
there.
only one.
Yeah, Rob, and then there's man, there was Kinetic Gunworks. Who else? I think them's the only ones. Them's the only ones I knew of.
Turkey season is a big
Oh, it's
dipping
huge.
season for us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
it's
lot of.
huge.
It's a lot of.
Well, most of your guns aren't dipped for turkey
Yeah.
hunting.
Yeah.
They're waterfowl.
Yeah.
Waterfowl.
Mm-hmm.
This is by far our busiest season for hydro dipping. I mean, turkey season is we hydro dip more guns the 3 months before turkey season than all year.
Oh yeah, well I mean yeah, and you're drilling tapping,
Drilling,
I mean,
tapping for
Yeah,
shotgun,
everything.
That's
and
huge,
red dots
especially
on
with the event of
shotguns.
TSS.
Well, yeah, but
and you're shooting further.
you just about have to have
Yeah.
a red dot with
I
one of
literally
them
had
really tight chokes.
Yeah.
I had
and-
this conversation with a guy literally yesterday in the shop. He bought a Indian Creek choke, bought some of your TSS, and he said, "How do you think it's going to shoot?" I said, "Man, I'm just going to be honest with you because it was like a brand new Super Black Eagle 3."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You're probably going to want to put a dot on it." I said,
Yeah.
"Because it's not."
Well, you're just not going to get the effective range out of that load.
Well,
Well,
and
it's
some,
not that. It's
Putting
just
that
the
big dot on top. Yeah.
it's just a point of impact. I
Yeah.
mean, for whatever reason, you choke those things down with them aftermarket chokes, and I don't think gun shoot is good as
No.
no.
I don't think their tolerances are as tight as they
No.
should be on
We see that every
sending
day.
them things out because shotguns in general, I've seen brand new ones out of the box and not just any specific brand across the board not shoot beads.
Yeah.
I mean, just not shoot the rib and bead. I mean, I don't know how many that, and I hear people all the time, but with a turkey gun with that tight choke, you better put a
Yep.
red dot on there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just like handguns coming out of the box, not shooting true to the front sight, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you better, because you're shooting a tight pattern,
Mm-hmm.
especially that bird steps out 15, 20 yards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
you
better
better
be
be
on
bearing
it.
down on him. Yeah. Yeah. So NWTF, good time, huh?
Yeah, it was really good, man. They have
A lot of exposure, good
oh yeah,
exposure. Awesome.
yeah. Well, I don't know how many people come through this year. There was probably well, I think last year there was like 75 or 6,000 people come through, and supposedly there was that many or more this year.
Golly.
And man, you would just be blown away at the people that come through, and you sit there and talk. Of course, it was me, um, my wife and kids came, but it was me, Hedinga, Seth Howard, um, my brother-in-law Austin McKnight, and then my other brother-in-law Josh Jones, and then Josh Pitts came, and it was constant talking to people, which I'm glad those guys came
Oh
because
yeah.
it would be way too much.
Yep. Well,
Like,
we literally ran into that Big Buck Classic in Little Rock this year, and that's one reason why we didn't do it. It was just going to be basically me and Chase at the booth,
yeah,
and we felt like it would be really hard. We're going to end up doing it, but
I want to do it next year.
yeah. Um, but we felt like it would be really hard to give because we don't want to just ignore people, But it's also hard to talk to that many people
It
if you
is.
don't got a big enough crew
It
standing there
is.
with you. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we had those, and we had all of us there sometimes, and it was just like,
And you want everybody to stand behind that booth at least have pretty good knowledge base of what they're talking about too,
hmm
So
hmm
yeah, it's tough. You want to get out there, you want to connect, you want to deal and get exposure with everybody,
yeah.
but you want to do it in the
I
right
mean,
way
we
too.
tried to talk.
Oh yeah.
I think we talked about everybody.
Oh yeah.
Of course, you shake everybody's hand, and you shake ten
Hmm.
thousand people's hands one day in the
Yeah.
weekend or whatever. But it was
Yeah.
it was really cool. I could tell this year the the number of people that had heard about us or had shot our stuff in last year, like it was really cool to see because you could tell the people that had shot it,
Yeah.
because they didn't come up there
You wouldn't have to
to
introduce
ask
yourself.
to ask what they should shoot. They already knew. They're like, we want these 20 gauge 2 ounce nines. They're awesome. Appreciate you. And then they grabbed their surfer boxes and left.
Awesome.
I mean, it was like,
Yeah. You weren't having to educate them about everything. Yeah.
no.
Mm.
And another thing is too, we had the blue collar guys, blue collar outdoors. They came I think, yeah, Saturday. They came Saturday for like a meet and greet type thing. And if y'all don't know Blue Collar
Yeah.
Outdoors, they do pattern series, and they helped us a lot. You know, last year they shot our stuff on YouTube, and of course it did really really good, and it just kind of took off from there. And they do a really good job on just honest reviews.
Yeah.
Like you see so many things like I didn't even bring pattern pictures to Nashville because people can get the wrong idea. If you set a pattern picture out here and you say that's 40 yards, is it really?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it really 40 yards or is that 32
Yeah.
and it looks like a softball down there?
Yeah.
And so I didn't even bring any,
Yeah.
but that's one thing I like about those guys is everything they shoot, they're standing at 40 yards. They tell you what choke they're using. They tell you what shell that they're using. If you like it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. But you're getting to see
Right.
those setups
They're not
across the
afraid to
board, and
just
they're not
tell the
afraid to do
truth.
it.
Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, they came for a little while and hung out, and great dudes. But the amount of stuff that people are putting out, like the new stuff, man, that's so cool.
Oh yeah. So any that's what I was just
I
fixing to get into any
I
new
bought a new
products.
turkey vest.
Oh shoot.
I bought a new turkey vest.
What'd you buy? Because I just bought one
Man,
too. Did I mess up?
if you didn't buy it, you did.
Oh man.
So I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I want to be because they got a really cool vest out. So it's Alps
Yep.
Outdoors.
Uh-huh.
They've got. I had a old Cabela's turkey vest, and it has a stadium seat inside of it. I had it for like I got so mad when that thing tore up. I mean, I don't know how many turkeys I killed in that thing, but it finally give out on me. And if this one I got now will hold up, or if I can continue to get them,
Yeah.
it'll be the best. It's
We got
it's just like a normal vest. It's got the pouch in the back. It's got the call pockets on the side. The box call pouch is it's a hard it's like a hard case almost that with the zipper, and then it's got thermocell pouch. It's got place for that. But the seat,
The kick out in the back.
well, no.
Mm,
See, I don't like the
I
legs.
don't either
I don't like that.
because they're never
They
level.
never level. They
Mm-mm.
get hung up. Well,
Yep.
this has just got like one. Like you see the people at the ball games with
Yeah.
the stadium seats.
Mm.
Well, this got one that it folds down on the inside, so it's not flipping around on the back. It's inside. So when you get ready to sit down, you unsnap the front, and it folds down, and you can set up over there in that floor and not have to have a tree. You don't have to worry about, am I going to be comfortable right here? Because you can get your legs up and
Ready to roll.
you're ready to roll. And
Awesome.
that was what
Little back
Pitts
support.
bought one too, because
Yeah.
he's like, golly, I got to have that. And I was so pumped when we walked by. Of course, we got to walk by before everything was
Open.
open.
Mm-hmm.
So on Wednesday, after we set up our booth, we were just walking around looking at stuff, and we walked by those, and I said, we walked over there and asked them if they were selling them yet, and they're like, no, we don't have anything set up. And I looked over at Josh. I said, try that thing out. And he said, man, I don't really want to buy a new vest. And I was like, try it out. And he's like, okay. So he got over there and he's sitting on the ground. He goes, this is a game changer. I was like, I know. He said, I'm going to come back over here in the morning and get us each one. And so he comes back the next morning at like, show opens at 9, and like 9:05, he's back with our vests. So we already got them. So it
Nice.
was, but
They probably sold out.
yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah.
But there was so much cool stuff. I mean, anything turkey hunting
Mm-hmm.
related, calls, just you name it. I mean, there's so many cool custom calls and calling contests
Oh yeah.
and stuff like
I
that.
watched the highlights from the calling contest. Unreal, dude. Even the youth calling contest is absolutely unreal. Unreal.
I walked by a booth, and there was a kid. I think it was a kid that won, and he was standing there. Of course, I feel like I'm pretty good
Mm-hmm.
on mouth call
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And he was sitting there with a box call, and he was key running on that box call. And I didn't look after seeing him now and seeing the kid that won, it was him.
Yeah.
Because he's sitting there running that thing, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "Who is this kid?" And then turns out, I don't remember his name. I don't know his name, but he's a little bigger kid, and he's got freckles and stuff like that. But he won it, and I mean, he can flat out call.
I can't remember who it was, but I was watching somebody highlight the youth,
Mhm.
that were going to the calling contest.
Yeah, and they're owl hooting and
Oh,
all
yeah.
that stuff. It's
And man,
crazy.
they interviewed this one kid and had him do a little, sequence or whatever. And I
Yeah.
was expecting him to pop, mouth call out. No, it was his
No.
natural voice. I
Vocals.
was like, you're kidding me.
No, it's
Better than
insane.
most
Yeah.
adults with
It's-
a read in. I mean, it was
it's
unreal.
unreal.
The diaphragm in, yeah. Yeah, those kids are impressive, man. But so sounds like a good time. We need to get out there.
We got a lot of things.
I know we need to.
We got a lot of things we need to do.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
It'd be a good want to.
Mhm.
I'm still trying to keep up with what we got going on.
Well, I mean, full disclosure, we've been wanting to go to Big Buck Classic. We've been wanting to go to SHOT Show just to attend. We've been wanting now, but man, it's hard to put down the work and go do that for a while.
I know.
You
I
know.
Oh, I know.
Mhm.
That's what, when
Mhm.
we got back, of course, we got back Sunday at like 6 o'clock or something like that. And of course, it's a hard trip. I mean, it really is. And it was tough this year. We had our 3 kids and, traveling, and
Yeah.
it's a 7-hour trip both ways. And it's like, we got back. Well, your online orders,
They don't stop.
they don't quit.
Mhm.
And then when you're there, it's just, I mean, they're just constantly, which is a blessing.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I'm tickled to death. I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's what I always tell this guy when he gets a little overwhelmed. I'm
Yeah,
like, hey,
and it
this
is.
beats the alternative, right?
And I remember
Sitting at the shop, at the front of the shop, just twiddling your thumbs, waiting for someone to walk in
Yeah.
that door, having a whole
Having
safe
a
full
list.
of guns, or having a whole
Yeah.
line full of orders. Yeah, it
But, I
beats the
mean,
alternative, but
we
it is
were-
overwhelming.
I remember we got laid down. Me and my wife put several together Sunday afternoon when we got back, which we wasn't planning on doing it. We were just going to hang out. We hung out for a couple hours, and then we went upstairs and started working on them. And we just finally I got zeroed out last night at about 9 o'clock with
Getting caught up.
all caught up on online orders. Yeah. So your order has shipped.
There you
if
go.
you get, if you got,
Yeah, which is
if you got
impressive
it.
because I mean, you work full-time job
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So,
I'm 40.
exactly.
What's the snow day?
There
We
you
had a
go.
snow
There you
that
go.
go.
That saved you.
that saved me.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. I work 410s
There
at
you go.
Industrial Power over here in town,
Yeah.
and
So I mean, you.
it's a chore.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of 11, 12 o'clock nights
Yeah, I've been there,
coming
man.
up.
Did it for six years. I worked full time job and building my business before I went full
Mhm.
time.
It's scary.
It's
I mean,
scary
you
to
always want to, like you want to.
man. I'm telling you, for 6 years, I said, man, it'd be nice. Every time somebody said that, like, you need to do this full time. I said, I'd be nice one day, maybe.
Hmm.
And I just never would. Dude,
Well,
it's a leap of faith,
yeah.
man.
Oh, I know.
And when you got responsibilities,
Hmm.
family, other things to weigh in besides
Oh
just,
yeah.
it's
Oh
a
yeah.
adds a whole nother dynamic to it,
It is.
and it's hard. It's a tough
Yeah.
decision.
And
It's
not
real
knowing
tough.
when you know, like you're working a 40-hour job, guaranteed paycheck every week. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? When you work for yourself, you don't know. Like right now, I got a 22 gun rack full of guns that people hadn't picked up and hadn't gotten paid because it's been snowing.
yeah,
You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like
yeah.
you can't plan for that when you own your own
No,
business. You know what I
Hmm.
no. I
mean?
mean, it's just you just that's what that's what we've been doing. We've been doing some soul searching and some praying to see if that's going to be the right thing for us to do. And I mean, I don't feel like it is right now.
Yeah.
Haven't got that um, sign, I
Yeah,
guess, that hey, this is ready.
yeah,
And I know everything is lined up too well for me to this point in my life to know that when it's time, I'll know.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
one of those.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things that
Yep.
it'll be revealed.
Sometimes it's not us for us to know the timing. It's
That's
just to
right.
stay the course.
That's right.
Yeah,
And I have people all the time. Oh yeah, you need to do it. I don't know what you're waiting on. You need to do it. And I'm like, buddy, you don't even know.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
even know.
I have no clue. They're the same
Well,
ones that worked at
Yeah,
Walmart their whole life.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Never.
yeah,
They're like, just do it.
yeah.
Well,
You have
and
no clue what it
too. I
takes,
mean,
man.
you
Uh,
throw 3 kids in the mix too. That
yeah,
holds a whole nother
yeah. I
dynamic
mean,
to it too.
benefits and
Yeah.
kit. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a
Yeah.
which I know you can get insurance and all that stuff. No
Yeah.
big deal. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
But same way with you, same way I've seen with this guy. He's never going to say it, but you make your own luck sometimes. You
Mm-hmm.
make your own fortune sometimes. You get in there, yeah, things have got to line up. You got to get a few lucky breaks, I guess, here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you make your own luck.
Oh yeah,
That's
you
due to
work
hard
hard
work,
enough.
rolling up your sleeves, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean everything that I've seen at the shop with Chase. He's got himself there through hard work and
Oh yeah.
working. Same thing I've
Well,
seen
you
with you,
got to.
man.
I
Yeah,
mean, that's
absolutely.
if it was easy,
Everybody be doing it.
everybody would be doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Andy Frisella, I listen to him a lot in the Real AF podcast in case anybody wants some extra podcasts to listen to. He's very good, talks a lot of business stuff, but he says that there's no possible way that you can give 100% effort every day and fail
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm
at
sure.
anything you do.
Yeah, that's hard to do though.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, it's a
Hey,
grind, man.
it's
It's a
it's hard to
grind.
do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just like man, I mean, the day I had carpal tunnel surgery, I went to work. The 2 days after knee surgery, I was at work. I
Mm-hmm.
was working, sweating my butt off, with fever the other day. I was at work painting. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to, but I was doing
No.
it. That's stuff you got to do, man.
Hmm.
It don't matter how you feel or if you're having a good day or a bad day. You got to win the day every day,
Yeah.
man.
Well, man, when
I mean,
you're
that's
working for
just
yourself on your own business, you don't get those sick days.
no. There
No.
ain't
Yeah.
no sick days. I mean, non-existent.
So we're all, you got into this. You got into hand loading. Ultimately created Rocky Ridge Ammo. Went to NWTF convention. This is all kind of centered around turkey hunting in Arkansas,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's touch on that for a little bit.
Mm.
Let's
I might make some people mad with this.
probably not. Let's. You're not gonna make me mad. Let's just talk about the state of turkey hunting in Arkansas right now overall. I mean, so you grew up down Berta. I grew
No,
up here.
well,
Oh, sorry.
my wife's family's from Berta.
Oh,
I'm from
okay.
I'm from Danville.
Oh, you damn.
So,
Sorry. Yeah.
but
Let's be clear about that.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Sorry, man. Sorry.
yeah. I went to School of Dreams down there at Danville High.
Okay.
Little Johns.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So I'm from Harrison, Arkansas,
Okay,
originally.
okay.
Lived there my whole life. Moved down here in 2007. Never
Mhm.
left. But probably very similar circumstances.
2007 was a rough year to be a turkey hunter in Yale County.
Was it?
Yeah,
Well, man, we were still killing birds left and right
yeah,
down up there.
it was tough everywhere.
Yeah. So from the time I started turkey hunting till about I graduated high school, And I tell people stories like this all the time. I know they think I'm full of crap, but it was just the truth. And I'm sure
Mhm.
you probably will believe it. You could go out on a point any morning. I mean, we didn't even hoot. We just waited for
Yeah.
them to start gobbling on their
Oh,
own.
yeah.
And there would literally be so many turkeys gobbling in so many different directions. We would stand there and wait to see which one flew down and started working
Yeah.
their way to us first. And that's the bird we went after.
Yeah.
You messed up on him or you killed him,
You went after another
you
one.
went after another one. It was no big deal. Man, I didn't even think about having limited birds to hunt.
Mhm.
I tell this story day before turkey season. I had just wasn't quite driving yet. Me and Dad went out that Friday evening before that Saturday morning opened. And it was
Mhm.
crappy weather, cold, windy. We knew these birds would be going off down in this draw to roost. We stood there um, the evening before turkey season. They were still grouped up real bad. It was still cold. We watched 32 longbeards walk off this hill down into this same cedar break, one after the other. Every single one of them longbeards, no jakes.
Mhm.
That's just unimaginable now. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
not saying other people haven't had similar experiences in the past, but
Not here.
that's just unheard of now here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was common. That was common then. That was not that big a deal, you know.
Yeah.
It's a far
Well,
cry from that right now.
in so where I grew up hunting at, I grew up hunting Mount Magazine.
Hmm.
We got a cabin up there. It'd be me and my dad and my uncle Sean and my cousin Grant. We'd stay up there basically the whole turkey season.
Spring Lake.
Well, as up like Barber Ridge
Oh, I
is
got
where
you.
our cabin's at. But man, like 2000, we had. I mean, it was like you're talking about. Like you'd get up there and you could hear them,
Hmm.
and you would just kind of wait and figure out which one you really wanted to go to, and it was just like I don't really know what happened, but um, the turkey hunting kind of went downhill a little bit. But you can say what you want, but I believe that there's common factors in, or correlations between what's happened, between why the turkeys aren't there anymore and things like that. Well, so basically, everywhere we hunted at that time, there was a lot of birds up
Hmm.
there. Well, about 04, 05, something like that. That was when they were all doing all clear cuts on national forest. Well, everywhere we were hunting got clear cut. So the next couple of years, the turkey numbers just went down and down and down. I mean, they were clear cutting huge,
Yeah, swaths at a time.
huge places. I mean, like just, and I don't mean going in there and select cutting. And they have started doing that up there now,
Yeah,
select cutting. But they were just going in and wiping everything out like the table. Well, there's places up there now that I grew up turkey hunting. You still can't walk, and that's been 20 years ago. It's
yeah,
so thick.
yeah. Just
And
deadfall
turkeys
timber.
can't get through that
They
crap
can't get through
either.
that, and
Well, and
and
it's a predator
it's a it
paradise.
is,
Yeah.
and that's what people are like. Oh, that logging don't hurt nothing. Well, it it does, because if you clear cut something and it don't get planted back and it don't get burned, and all it is just a predator infested place, which the deer population
Right.
just exploded up
Well,
there.
and turkeys don't browse like a deer, so the food
Yeah.
ecologically there is gone.
Oh yeah. Well, not even that. They just can't
Get
make
through.
it.
Yeah.
They
Hmm.
can't make it
Hmm.
because your coons, your
Yeah.
possums, your everything that's eating the eggs, on the nests that are right around there, and your coyotes and bobcats are. I mean, they don't have a chance.
Yeah.
Everything's after a
Yeah.
turkey. They don't have a chance.
Hmm.
But from when they started doing that first year, it just kind of, you could tell it just started, the curve went down. Well, then it got to where, well, that 2 years later, we didn't even stay up there anymore.
Yeah, that's sad.
It was, I mean, it was terrible.
That's and not only is it affecting your turkey hunting, but it's affecting a tradition. You got a
Exactly.
family
And
tradition.
so we moved. We moved from there, started hunting this other place. Same thing. Wiped it out. Well, there wasn't no turkeys in 2 years. I mean, we've just kind of kept steadily ping ponging around.
Yeah.
Well, 20 years has went by, and some of those places, timber's getting up a little bit. Well, timber's getting up a little bit. They've burned it a time or two here and there, certain things. Well, man, turkeys are.
Population
Yeah,
coming back.
that's
Yeah.
crazy how that works.
Yeah.
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 But you can tell, or I can tell, in the last 3 years, which and it's been basically a 20-year. I mean, you think about 20 years in life of timber, it takes that
Oh, yeah.
long for a cycle
To mature
to come
timber.
back around
Mm.
to where it starts smothering out underbrush and stuff like that. And about 5 years ago, it seemed like down South Yale County they had more birds than we did up here. And I think a lot of that is because those lots of those places down there started getting logged earlier than up here. So them turkeys started coming back earlier down there. And I mean, people
Talking
say,
about the
"Oh, they
timber
don't like
growth.
clear cuts. They don't like they don't like clear cuts because they can't make it.
Yeah.
The plantation pines and stuff like that. That's fine once they get up, big enough they can use them
Right.
and not be just basically attacked every time they turn around.
Right.
But
Well, when they're 10 foot tall and shorter, it's
yeah,
just
you
nothing
just
but yeah.
there's no chance.
No.
But I could tell from some of my buddies that hunt that way, they were hunting plantation pines and like oak ridges, but
Yeah.
those pines were up big enough them turkeys was able to use it. And you see it a lot in the south, and stuff like that.
I don't
They've
think that should make
made it
anybody
back.
mad. And we're not sitting here saying that harvesting timber is a bad
No,
thing. Exactly,
no,
but
but I think
it
this is
has an
what I think.
ecological impact.
I think that there's going to be a lot of agencies going to say that they've done this to improve turkey habitat
Oh yeah.
and all this stuff, and they're going to take credit for these things. And I don't think it has anything to do with any of that, other than it just is time that's went by since those catastrophic
Yeah.
clear cuts and stuff like that's happened. And I think this year
Yeah.
we'll kill 10,000 birds in Arkansas this
I've seen more turkeys this fall
year.
deer hunting
Yeah,
than I have in years.
yeah, me
And
too.
actually decent. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna say substantial, but decent numbers too.
yeah.
Not just 5 or 6
Yeah.
hens.
Yeah, like you
20
like you may
hens
see
or
let
two
me see 8
jakes.
or 10 longbeards
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah, I've
exactly.
seen
I have too.
we wintered, I think,
And I've
on
talked to other
our
people that have
place.
as well.
Yeah, more than usually there'll be like one, or
Yeah.
up there where we deer hunt at, you might see one or two or something like that. But I think this year we've had several more,
Yeah.
up where we hunt up on the mountain and things like that, just showing up, and it's nice. I
Yeah.
mean, and everybody I hear saying that.
To touch what you're talking about on the timber, now I'm gonna make people mad. And I'm you know, just being honest, I don't enjoy seeing clear
Oh
cut
no,
timber,
makes me sick.
especially in public land areas where
Mm-hmm.
they're going through and cutting out the mature hardwood timber
Mm-hmm.
and then replanting it back in invasive pine.
Mm-hmm.
Pine, in my opinion, and I'm no biologist, but is an ecological just desert. It's cover, it may be roosting timber, it may be bedding area, but it provides no
Get them
food.
pine needles
Yeah.
piled up on there.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
ain't doing
It
much.
provides no food.
Mhm.
It's almost an ecological desert.
Yeah,
I hate it.
yeah,
I'm not saying there isn't some minor benefits, but it doesn't outweigh the negative in my opinion. However, I think you're exactly right. But I think the state of the turkeys in Arkansas is, and I've said this before, is like a death by a thousand cuts.
Mhm.
I think what you said is
It was
absolutely
just a
true.
perfect storm. I
Yeah,
mean,
is
bad
absolutely
hatches with
true.
all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I think
Yeah.
it's a death by a thousand cuts. I think it's habitat
Mhm.
loss,
Predators.
the nest predators exploding because of the death
Mhm.
of the fur market.
Mhm.
Predators just always. I mean,
Yeah.
we have more coyotes now than we've had
Oh yeah.
we had coyotes 20 years ago. There's more now than there
Yeah,
ever
it ain't even
was.
close.
Yeah,
Coons.
bobcats, coons,
Yeah. Well, see
nest
that, and that's
predators.
another thing too. On our place and everything like that. Anywhere I've got, I mean, man, we are hard on the coons. I mean,
You
every
gotta
Yeah,
be.
coons,
yeah,
Gotta
possums,
be.
skunks, everything. I
yeah,
mean, we like I remember going out and we would go out and kill 8 or 10 coons a night.
yeah,
And like there would be pictures on my game camera where there would be 20 at one time
Yeah.
on a
mhm,
picture.
yep,
And now I feel like we've got them under control. And another reason I think that's why we've got some birds is because we get game pictures now and there might be 2 or 3,
right.
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm trying to figure out how I can get over there and
Well,
get
I
rid of
just
them.
Yeah,
I literally just bought some dog proof coon traps, man. I've
Yeah.
never trapped in my life. and I'm about to start doing it because
Oh,
that's how
it's
mad at them I
Well, think
yeah.
am.
about
I mean,
this.
it's
If I
just
think about this puts it in perspective. If I gave you 100 eggs, told you to go hide them through the woods and have them sit there for 60 days, how many of those eggs you think could make it? Exactly.
Zero.
I mean, sight, smell. Hogs are hell on turkey
Yeah.
nests too. We don't,
Which thankfully I don't have a
thank goodness,
yeah.
but the areas that do, they're hell on turkey nests. Not
Mhm.
only will they get in there and eat every one of them, but the ones they don't, they'll root and break,
Yeah.
and they're
Oh
hell on
yeah.
turkey nests. But nest predators are just, and then again, stepping on people's toes and making them mad. But I'm just being honest. Commercial, and we saw this in Arkansas, in Harrison,
Mhm.
when the explosion of commercial chicken and turkey farms happened up there.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying it was the only factor, but I think it played a factor. And I'm not saying they're bad, and I'm not saying I disagree with them by any means, but I think it's just like you were saying about the clear cutting and the
Mhm.
coincidence when spreading turkey houses, chicken houses, litter became more and more and more commonplace
Mhm.
farming practice up there. Our turkey population, I mean, just within overnight, just
Mhm.
dwindled. And loss of cover doesn't always mean, just clear cutting hillsides. Up there, we saw where people always had, some maybe grown up fields or grown up fence rows, or always had a few
Not anymore.
dozer
Everything's
decks.
manicured.
Yeah, always had a few dozer decks or brush piles on their place.
Mhm.
Good nesting cover.
Yeah.
It's slick as a whistle up there now.
Mhm.
and that has killed. I think
Yeah.
that's killed the majority of bird population. Our
Up
quail
on bird. Yeah.
Oh
population,
yeah.
our
Hmm.
quail population is detrimented. And listen, I am that guy. I have 30 head of cows on 67 acres,
Yeah.
but it's stuff like that that is killing the bird populations because used to, like he said, every finch row was growed up,
Had blackberry bushes
had
and
Yeah.
blackberry
everything else.
bushes everywhere, and now everybody wants to have that clean, good looking pasture
Well,
for
it's
their
easier to
neighbors to look.
maintain.
Right.
Easier to maintain the fence
Yeah.
rows. You
Looks
know what I mean?
nicer.
But it's these small cattle farmers that are keeping everything immaculate that
Mhm.
used to be growed up, and there's no place for these birds
Mhm.
to grow.
Yeah.
There's no place for
No
them to hide
cover.
eggs. There's no place for them to hide their chicks. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I mean, there's no place for this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's no habitat left because there's so many people out
Right.
there running 10 head of cows on 10 acres
Mhm.
and wiping it out completely or running goats or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And listen, like I said, I love my beef as much as anybody and I love steak. But that's the reality of it. And until we
Yeah.
come to realize it, and whether we want to be conservationists or farmers, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? There's gotta be some give and take. You cannot, yeah, it may look good from the highway that your pasture's 100% bush hogged every 5 weeks or whatever it is, but you're killing the habitat for these animals to live.
Yeah.
That's
And
the reality of it.
I'm not trying to just, trounce on the Park Service here. I think there's a lot of folks that do a good job, but untimely burns in areas right up to nesting period is insane to me. Burns are a good thing. I'm not saying they're a bad thing, but you can't do them right before those hens are fixing to
Mhm.
go start nesting and have no cover left.
And I don't even think that's as big a deal around here. I think
Well, north
it's
of
it's just not. I
where
don't
we
think we
live,
just burning enough.
yeah, north of where we
Hmm.
live, north of Dover, that whole
Mhm.
area, wildlife management area,
Mhm.
they always burn that beginning mid of
Well,
March.
here's another thing to think about too.
Yeah.
So back to my grandpa, he worked for the Forestry Commission,
Okay.
big hunter. So obviously, one thing he made sure of was where to burn at.
Yeah.
When he would schedule the burns and stuff like this in this area and or in Yale County and stuff like that. And he knew
Yeah.
you go in there and burn, but he knew where them burns were to go hunt
Right.
later in the year
Well, I
after
think
it had
burns
already
are
happened.
great, but I think you need to do
This
them.
time of year,
Yeah.
Yes, you need
right
to do them
now is when you
earlier
need to
enough
be
in the
burning.
year
Yeah.
that some of that undergrowth and green vegetation can come
Hmm.
back.
So they can eat.
Exactly.
You
So they
should
have
not be
food.
burning after the month
Yeah.
of February, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It needs to stop after February. You need to be doing it January, February, give
I mean, you
March,
could
and
go
then
through.
Yeah.
You could do some in March.
some in maybe the beginning of
Yeah.
March,
Yeah.
But once you get pushing that April, because I mean, what's you first weekend of April,
Yeah. So second now.
Second now. Yeah.
second now, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It, again, I think it's a death by 1,000 cuts.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think there's one particular issue. I think it's a
It's
lot,
everything.
but and we're talking about a species here too that's so fragile, anyways.
Oh yeah, if they nested in trees, you're gonna be able to kill them all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
they're hanging in the balance, anyways. And
Mm-hmm.
when you get one or two factors against them, it hurts them. When you
Or
get
just
this,
like this cold weather.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yep.
Golly, I wouldn't want to have been hanging on
no,
a limb,
no,
Mm-mm.
no, no.
9 degrees.
Mm-mm.
But all that being said, I think touched on this briefly when we started this conversation. But I drove through just the Washita's, just driving back roads here this fall. It's a little bit after deer season. I think I was predator hunting or something. And man, it seemed like every 2 miles I'd jump a batch
Yeah,
of turkeys up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's
it,
getting
it
bad.
looked really, really good,
I
man.
I
I
think
mean,
we're on the rebound,
I
and I
think
think it's
so.
it's because the timber is getting bigger,
Mm-hmm.
and people like us are
Yeah.
trying to trap and
Well,
kill.
I think people have become more aware of all these issues we just talked about.
Well, the game and fish and the national forest and all that stuff, they're not going to be able to.
To fix it.
No,
No,
no.
It's up
no,
to us.
it's out of that's right. It's out of their control because there's so much. There's places they can invest money
Yeah,
in. Like they've got a few little management areas that they put time and food plots and stuff like that in, and I think that's fine. I think that there should be more of that go on as far as habitat stuff, but it's going to take your guy that owns a couple hundred acres, or your guy that leases a place,
yeah,
and stuff like that out there trapping
yeah.
and
Well, they're never
taking
going to be
care of
able
your
to do
nest
anything for the
predators,
predation. Yeah,
or your guys that got fields, your
yeah,
chicken farmers that are out that they need to be out. I mean, because them coons and possums, they're out there in them
yeah,
cow fields all the
yeah.
time.
Yep.
Well, and give the Game Fresh credit. They have made way more lax game laws in
Oh
consideration
yeah,
to predators, nest
yeah,
predators.
yeah.
There's no longer a season on
Mm-mm.
coyotes,
Well, and
beaver,
there
nutria.
should have never been.
There's an extended season now for coons, and that's. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think you can
Yeah,
legally
predator control permit.
predator control permits, legal hunting at night. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to open it up. I
Yeah,
think they realize it's something
and
too. Yeah,
yeah, and they've had to.
yeah, they've
I mean,
had
they
to.
have to.
Yeah,
They've had to do something.
yeah, exactly.
But
So I'll give them credit. We're absolutely where credit's
yeah,
due, and they're trying to do their job. Like you're exactly
but
right.
they're not going to be able to do it all.
They can't do it all. No,
No,
that'd be an impossible
it
task.
takes
Yeah,
people that have private land
yeah,
to help out and
yeah,
do stuff like that.
yeah. And you got to help the birds a little bit. Like times during these right now,
Mm,
that
yeah.
food, is key.
Oh yeah.
Giving them good warm cover, windbreaks, and good nesting areas and good roosting areas this time of year.
Hmm.
It's crucial to
Oh
their
yeah.
survival. So
100%.
yeah, hopefully we'll keep seeing this uptick. I
I
mean, I hope.
I hope so, man. I always thought that, and of course, before basically my kids started hunting, it was like, man, I don't know if it's going to be nearly impossible for
I
me to
know.
get them a turkey
Yeah,
because of the point we were at,
yeah,
in which now they've done very
it's
well.
awesome.
Well, I think our age group era,
We weathered it.
when we first started hunting, turkey hunting was great.
It was great.
It was great, and then we seen it go to a lull where we couldn't even kill a turkey in
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah, I think there was like
To now,
5,000 killed that one year.
exactly. To now, where we're seeing it come
I
back.
We
think
got a
so.
taste of the
I mean,
promised land, and then it got yanked
Yeah.
away.
yeah, I
Well,
know.
it's like I got a cousin he's about 10 years older than me. Of course, he grew up hunting all the 90s, basically, and then into the 2000s, stuff like that. Well, he had great luck, Well,
Yeah.
then I'm coming in, later in I guess it would be like, I think I killed my first one in like 99 or 2000. Well, it was pretty good there for, till 05, 06. And well, then they started cutting all the stuff and it just, I've had to work for the,
Oh yeah,
the last few, but here, I think it's coming back.
I do
And I
too.
think we had to just endure
Yeah.
those hard
Yeah.
times, but
You think it'll ever be back to what we were used the heyday?
I think it could.
I think it could too.
I think it could,
Mhm.
but it's going to take a lot of self-control from a lot of people
Yep,
to help that.
I do. I agree.
Just
Yeah.
like the tags now, you kill one bird, then you have to wait a week, kill the second bird.
Is that how it is here now?
I think that's what it's
Was
been.
last year,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it was last year.
You couldn't kill two the first week?
Uh-uh.
I didn't kill him first week anyway.
But don't incriminate
Hey,
yourself
can we
here.
edit that out
Don't
later?
incriminate.
Yeah. I didn't kill him the first week
Yeah.
anyway.
No, I'm just
But I
kidding.
mean, the stuff like that though,
Yeah.
seriously, that's gonna. I mean,
Allows more hens
it
to
may
be bred.
it may suck temporarily for us as hunters because you get two birds and you're like, I want to kill both.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
had this opportunity again.
Oh yeah.
But the reality of it is we got to be thankful for that one bird and save the one for the future.
Well,
You know what I mean?
and
I
the
mean,
thing
it's
is too,
just
you're talking about your nest and everything like that. Like those turkeys breed back.
Yeah.
Those hens will relay, they'll re-nest. And it's like we talking about the burning and stuff like that, and burning up nests. Those hens they'll re-nest.
Yeah.
They're
When I
gonna
talk
they're
about the
gonna
burning, I'm not usually too concerned about burning up the nest. I'm more concerned
with
with
the habitat.
burning up the cover for them to nest in
Right.
before they get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They figure it out.
They figure it out. Yeah.
But it's just, man, it's tough.
Yep.
It's tough. Like I think about when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, just like I said, going out with my dad,
Yep.
and we'd be sitting there listening, and it'd be like, which one do you go to? Like, it's just like,
Oh, it
and
was.
now
We didn't realize what we had.
no, and now you go, and you sit there and
lucky
you
to hear
think,
one bird.
God, please let me hear one.
Yeah.
Just one gobble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's way better now.
Oh, yeah. It's hopefully this is the start of the uptick trend.
I think it could. This year right here could put us over the hump. If
Yep.
we have another good hatch,
Yep.
I think it could really put us over the hump, because I think the past 2 years as a whole, I think we had good hatches.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of 2-year-old gobblers killed this year.
Yeah, probably so. Mm-hmm.
Well, what's new for 2025 for you? Season plans?
2025.
Anything new you're doing or
different?
Man,
So we've got a new 2-ounce 20 gauge load. It's an 8 and 9 blend. Shoots really good. I have like 570 constriction, 20 gauge. That's pretty much about as far as the turkey line. We've been doing everything from 7 through 10 shot, just whatever you can imagine, for a few years. So it's kind of like, what else can you do? If it's, whether it be 410 through 10 gauge, if you want a 7 and 10 or a 8, 9 or a 9, 10 or whatever, we've been doing that for a while. So it's not like it's anything you see. I see people coming out with these new stacks and new blends and stuff like that. I've been doing those for
for a
several
while.
years, but I just don't push those.
So let me ask you this then, so tell the people that don't know, what's the benefit of the blends, like a 7 and 9 blend or 8 and 10 blend?
So, like, let's say for instance, like a 7-9. Okay, so the 7 shot is basically half the amount of pellets per ounce as 9s. So you got 362 pellets per ounce with 9s, and you got 185 with 7s. So obviously there's give and take. So you're losing pellet count to drop shot sizes. Well, a number 7 TSS is like a number 2 lead, which a number 7 supposedly will allow you to kill a turkey at 110 yards.
Lord.
Well, obviously, don't do that.
Yeah.
But the science and the penetration, like
energy downrange.
it's supposedly there.
Yeah.
So, if you got a 7 in there versus 9s, and 9's like 68 yards or something like that, which I've heard people say they've killed them at 100 with number 9s, which, whatever. Sounds good. It's your story. You tell it how you want.
Yeah.
But anyways, the 7s are just, shooting a little thick stuff, shooting, late season some brush, or, get out there a little further and hang up. You're going to have, all it takes is one.
Yeah.
Everybody wants 7,000 pellets in a 10-inch circle. All it takes is one of them, and you can't get more dead than that one pellet.
Right.
But it just, the dropping shot sizes just gives you a little more knockdown, gives you a little more distance. If you get one hang up at 60 or whatever, you should feel pretty confident that if you put one in it, it's over.
Yeah.
And same thing, with But when you do that, you're dropping your pellet count versus just nines or tens or whatever you want to shoot. But this like stacks, the 7 and 9s, I feel like is a good give and take, because you have those sevens for knockdown and stuff like that, but then again you have the nines to
Getting your pellet
fill in
count
those
back up.
voids.
Yeah, get your
And
pellet count
yeah,
back up.
yeah, and
So
that's what I use.
is it 7 to 9 blend predominantly sevens with nines to fill, or is it an even
Well, it just
blend?
depends
Oh,
on
okay.
like on our 3.5s. Like I'll do like an ounce and a half of nines and an ounce of sevens, because it's a 2.5 ounce
Okay.
load.
I'm
Which,
telling your recipe now.
well, you can buy the shot all you want to do that, but it's just like, I mean, 2.5 ounce, you do an ounce and a half nines, an ounce of sevens.
Okay.
Well, that's going to give you pretty good pellet count, and you got a pretty good amount of knockdown in there. And then like for a 3-inch load, you do like ounce and a half nines, 3/4 ounce sevens.
Okay.
You're just kind of
Yeah.
dropping it down. In the 20
Makes
gauge, I
sense.
do
Yeah.
like one of each,
Cool.
1 ounce of each, and it just
Yeah.
those sevens just they
Yeah.
hit different, man. They do.
Oh yeah.
I lean more towards those, sevens, straight eights, than I would just
A bunch of nines.
9 tens
Yeah.
I mean, you shoot 9 tens on paper and it looks absolutely insane, because I mean, there's 500 pellets per ounce in number 10 shot. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
We shot. I took my oldest boy last year to kill his first turkey, and we called up 3 jakes during youth season, and it was they come in and come in so close, and he had a scope, he was having trouble finding the head,
Mm-hmm.
and he was turning around 180 degrees behind me, and he was shooting those 7 and 9s.
Mm-hmm.
And finally I was like, just put it on wherever you can put on and pull it, because they were getting antsy, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And he put that sucker just right below the neck and the chest, and I'm talking about obliterated it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, didn't even flop with those 7 and 9s,
Oh, I
man.
know.
I
It's
mean, didn't even have to shoot him in the head, is what
Yeah,
I'm saying. It
it's
just,
well, that
I
brings a
mean,
point too. I'm glad you said that, because last year Josh Pitts and I went to Indiana, and I'd never been there before. It was just public. We were hunting, and I killed my biggest turkey up there. Had 3 beards, like
Man.
20 something inches of beard. It was crazy, big old turkey. Well, there's 2 of them come in. Well, we're fixing to double. Well, he's like 1, 2, 3. Well, when he says 3, mine puts his head down, and you can't see it. He's about 25 yards. I shot him, and I just body shot him and killed him.
yeah.
Wow.
I
You
mean,
ain't gonna do
it's
that with the old lead shot.
no,
No.
no. I mean, they're gonna get up and get away, but I mean, it just that's all I had. It was
Yeah.
like he's like 1, 2, 3, another whoop, boom,
We're gonna try it.
and he said, "Man, you blow that thing's wing off." I had
Hey,
to get
you'll be
him.
happy to hear this story. We got some guys that are up here from Mississippi building the new Chipotle, actually, as a matter of fact. And they came in the shop,
Really?
saw your ammo, started asking a bunch of questions. They actually bought a Hollow Sun red dot and mount. We got them set up with that.
Cool.
They took 2 or 3 boxes of your ammo back to Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 weeks later, they walked back in the shop. First thing they say was,
Take the rest of it.
I want the rest of
Yeah.
that.
We need some more, by the way.
Oh,
We need some more,
Hey,
by
that's
the
what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I got my milk crate in the car.
He said, his exact words were, they had a local loader down there that they shot for years, TSS, and loved it, thought it was great. And he said they shot, they bought the 410 and the 20 gauge.
20 gauge, yeah.
Yeah. And he said they shot 1 shell of each of yours, and they were just like, I'm not shooting anything else. They said it was amazing, you know.
I
And
told them I appreciate.
yeah, absolutely. And they were tickled to death, you know.
Yeah.
And they, as a matter of fact, when they were in, they were like, got our card, got our number.
Mm-hmm.
I
Gave
think they were wanting you to
gave them
ship
your
them some
number, and they were
stuff
wanting to
too.
get some
So,
ship stuff to
yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that just, man. That
Oh yeah,
goes to show
you never know.
never know,
Yep.
never know.
But and that's why you don't want people to have a bad experience. You want
Yeah.
that. That's why I try to tell people that, like, well, what's different in yours? What's different in yours versus everybody else's? And I'm like, probably what's in them as far as the components and stuff like that is probably the same. But each one of those shells that are in those boxes, I would go get them. I don't make any specially for me. I would go get those off the shelf and I would put them in my vest, and that's the ones I would use. And I can make any shell I want.
Yeah.
And any speed, any whatever. But I'm confident in those shells to be exactly what I want. The best shell that I can make is what's in the box.
Yep.
And that's what makes companies like yours and mine the way they are. is because I said the same thing on the last
Yep.
podcast.
No.
We don't carry anything in our store that we
Mm-hmm.
personally don't use
Mm-hmm.
ourselves and that we personally would not recommend to our
Yeah.
customers because we have tried it and used it personally.
Yeah.
You know what
If
I
it's
mean?
failed
Same thing with
us,
you.
if it's
Yeah.
failed us, I can guarantee you it's going to be a real hard sell for us to ever
Well,
get back on board with that again.
you know, and
Yeah.
and this industry is one of those deals where I'm not saying you can for money, you know, whatever, but at some point in time, there's going to be an opportunity for you to make more money. And I've seen it this past week. People coming up to me wanting to do stuff, wanting to do this, wanting to do that, collaborate. You know, opportunities to sell more shells or you know use this product with my shells. You know, and stuff like that. And you know, I don't want to be. I ain't going to be bought
Yeah.
just because somebody says, "Hey, we want you to collaborate with us on with this choke company with your shells." If I don't think that's going to be the best choke for these shells, I really don't want to put my name on it.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Someone
know,
came to
and
you that you thought would improve anything that you were doing, I'm sure
yeah,
you'd be open ears.
and
But
and
yeah,
and I'm fine with saying, yeah, I think this choke and this shell would be great,
right.
but
But you're not just going to do
I'm
it for
not
the
going to
bottom
limit
line.
myself to shooting one person's
Choke.
chokes
Yeah.
and stuff like that because, I mean, it may be this Indian Creek shoots the best with this shell in my gun,
Yeah.
not somebody else's gun. Somebody else's gun may shoot great, but or this True Lock choke shoots the best out of my 28 gauge, or this Jeb shoots good out of my. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't want to limit myself and on what I can what I recommend people because I want people to shoot what they want to shoot because I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, I
It's
get
one of
it.
those deals where I feel like not necessarily sell you soul or whatever, but I
Mhm.
mean you could cut your nose off
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
in a hurry by
If,
tying yourself to somebody
yep.
if it's and especially if it's not something you
Yeah.
100% believe in, and
Right.
I don't want to do that.
And just for a bottom line number.
Mm,
Right. I
exactly.
understand. Because
Because I ain't doing this. I mean, yeah, it's nice selling all these shells and stuff like that, but I don't do this because
you're trying to get
I'm
rich.
trying to get
Yeah.
rich. I'm doing this because it's something I like to do. I really, really enjoy it. I like doing it. And I feel like it lets me be a part of if you go out and you kill a turkey and you send me a picture and you say, hey, I use this shell right here, I can almost see myself loading that shell for you,
That's
you
pretty
know,
sick.
and
Yeah.
it feels like I'm a part of, you
Your
know,
hunt.
I'm a
Yeah.
part of the hunt,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and for
Well, you're giving
something.
lots of people a lot of good memories, man.
Well, I know. I mean, it's something I'm so passionate about, you know, being a turkey hunter and, you know, it's
An
basically
outdoorsman.
my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just being an
Yeah.
outdoorsman.
I
We
mean,
talk about that all the time,
I'd
not just
quit.
being a hunter. We try to be outdoorsmen and
Yeah.
conservationists. And yeah.
I mean, if it had to, if there was, if you had to pick, like if you said, Austin, you got to pick if, if you got to quit deer hunting or you got to quit turkey hunting for this or whatever, man, if I could go chase turkeys every morning and I had to give up fishing and deer hunting or squirrel and all that stuff, sign me up, bud.
Sign you up.
Sign me up. I'm going.
Well, and there's a sense of pride when you get those pictures. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
Just like us, when I hydro dip a gun or Cerakote gun, and they send, or even like if it's an old gun they couldn't use
Mm-hmm.
anymore. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
didn't work anymore, and I fixed for them, and it was a grandpa's, and they got
Yeah.
to kill a deer with
Yeah.
it. They send me pictures of that stuff, man. It's
Yeah.
a sense of pride and a sense of accomplishment
Oh
to
Absolutely.
be
yeah.
able to see this and see the appreciation in the
Yeah.
customers of what we do. You
And
know
that
what I
brings
mean?
something else up too,
It's
like loading custom shells for people. Like my uncle Lance, he's got my pawpaw's gun.
mm-hmm.
Well, he wanted me to. It's a 2 3/4, and it's just a modified choke 12 gauge. Well, he wants to use it this year. Well, odds are you probably. I mean, my grandpa killed a truckload with it, but obviously turkeys are
Yeah.
pretty plentiful then. But he wants to use it this year and kill a turkey with it. Man, that's probably one of the most special things,
Yeah.
you know, to think, man, I can bring that gun to life.
Just
I'm
some loads. Yep.
with a 2 3/4 shell with some with 2 ounces of number nines in there in that 12 gauge. I mean,
That's pretty awesome.
yeah, and I mean that's I'm probably gonna release something on that here pretty soon, like making it and everything that goes into it. But yeah, the pawpaw
That's cool.
that's
Yeah.
coming soon. It's a 2 ounce, 2 3/4 12 gauge. Um, it's it's probably I've done pretty cool stuff, loading stuff for people and stuff like that. But I think this one's
Oh
probably
yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah, I think this one's
I like the name already.
tops the
Yeah.
most special.
So you going out of state again, turkey hunting this year?
Yeah,
Mainly going to hunt around home, or what's the
yeah.
turkey tour? 2025 turkey tour look like
2025, man. I
at
tell you,
Rocky Ridge?
you never know where I'm going to end up at
Yeah.
come spring because it's one of those deals where I don't know until somebody's like, "Hey, man, you want to go? You want to go hunting?" And just like last year, Pitts is like, "Hey, you want to load up and go to Indiana?" I was like, "When you want to leave?" It's one of those deals. Of course, thankfully, my work right now is flexible. They just kind of let me. They're big deer hunters. They don't really turkey hunt,
Okay, that works out well.
and it works out good because they're gone for 2 weeks to Illinois while I'm sitting there at the office. Well, come springtime, Austin's
Yep.
Austin's getting
It's
his.
Austin's turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, my wife, she just kind of lets me come and go. She knows how I am. I mean, she knew when she married me that there's going to be certain weeks of the year or months out of the year, and April's one of them. And I'm about gone every weekend.
Yep.
But it's I think of course I want to go to Mississippi in March. I want to go down there. Just public, just find somewhere to hunt. So
Mhm.
if somebody watches this in the comments and you got me like a general direction, let me know.
Yep.
But Mississippi, I want to hit that up. Um, we're going. Me and my boys and my cousin Chase and his son, and then I think Eric Hawkins and his boy are going. And we're going to go to Kentucky and hunt their youth hunt because it's the week before the youth hunt here. And then so we'll hunt there that first week, and the second week we'll hunt Arkansas. And I want to try to find somewhere to go hunt that weekend before our season opens on the 21st. And hadn't figured out where I'm going to go yet, but I probably should just scout around here. But I'd rather go hunt somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, put in for Kansas.
Yeah. We did too. We plan on me and a couple buddies going Nebraska, Kansas, and then hunt around here.
I didn't put in for Nebraska. But
Yeah.
Want
We're
to
hunting right on the border, so we're kind of
hit both if
yeah.
you draw.
Mm-hmm. So
That'd be
hopefully,
awesome.
hopefully, we three of us. Hopefully, at least a couple of us will draw Kansas. Ideally,
Did y'all put in together or did y'all
no,
do separate?
we just put in separate. Man, gonna let the dice roll as they fall. Someone draws
Well,
one.
I drew last year, but
Perfect.
they act like if you drew last year, you don't have a
Yeah,
chance.
on Go Hunt, the odds last year, it was about a 75-78% draw odds. So they were pretty good. So out of the three of us, I figure two of us maybe will. Hopefully.
Well, hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. One of us does, we'll go get one,
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Well,
is what it is.
Yeah, as long as you got a shooter,
Yeah,
it's all good.
it is what it is.
As long as you got a
Yeah.
shooter, it's all good.
Exactly. Well, we like to wrap up every show kind of at the end with just some questions at the end. Just get,
Okay.
just for fun and just kind of get to know you a little bit better. So, favorite spring camo pattern?
Man, I'm wearing it right now.
Green leaf?
Yep.
Yep. All
Yep.
right.
I like the green leaf.
Yep.
Early season, I'll just wear original bottomlands.
Yeah.
Um,
Just start greening up a little.
yeah, yeah. The advantage timber's pretty sweet. Later in the year, it works a little bit earlier too. With the browns and stuff like that. But
not to spoil a spoiler alert. Can I tell them about the new patterns?
Oh, I just got off the truck yesterday. It's there.
So we do have the old school, but the new film, the
original real tree,
like the
really?
tree bark original
with the
It's
green
sick.
in there. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
really popular. Well, actually, they just released it last week, and I ordered it as soon as they released it. Got it off the truck yesterday, and I already got 2 guns to dip in it.
Wow.
We'll be the first ones doing it, and then soon we'll be doing the old school
The
mossy
full
oak tree
foliage.
stand.
Tree stand.
Oh, tree stand.
Yeah.
Did y'all see the full foliage?
Uh-uh.
Look cool.
Yeah.
Is it a new
Hopefully they
pattern? Or
release
is it
it
an old
too.
Oh,
school pattern?
it's an
Okay.
old pattern, but it's kind of like a tree stand with
The green leaf
green
had
in
it.
it.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. They are
Um,
releasing several old patterns.
Yeah,
so.
they had 2 of them there at
Cool.
NWTF with a couple turtle boxes dipped in, and they were
Awesome.
pretty cool.
All right. So next question here. You go in turkey woods. Can't take a vest. You can put one call in your pocket. What you taking?
The call.
Yeah, one call. That's all.
All right, shout out Tyler Breen with Cartel Custom Calls. I'm gonna be using that Papa Smurf.
Okay.
I I don't That's all I use anyway.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I carry box calls and my dad's got 10 jillion box calls
Oh,
and
yeah.
slate calls, and I got a bunch that people's give me or I've bought, and I don't ever use them.
Man, I'm the same way. I bought a new vest from Band. Actually, I bought their new Banded Air Elite vest,
Mhm.
smaller, less pockets, because I don't carry that much stuff
Yeah.
anymore. I got a whole closet full of
Yeah.
calls. I carry 3 or 4 of them, and really probably only use 2 all year.
I
So
buy. Well, I was going to buy. You better get my mouth calls too. I was going to buy like 5 or 6 of them while we were there when he sold out of them, and he's like, "Man, I'll get you some," and so
no, what you're talking about, is that a diaphragm call?
yeah, it's a ghost cut.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I can
What was
run
that?
that
What was the
thing.
name of his company?
Papa Smurf, Cartel Custom Calls.
Okay.
He's
Check him out.
hand cut. He's a small
Awesome.
business guy. I mean, he cuts all of them and everything like that. But that's what I've been running the last few
Yeah.
years. And of course, I've had a bunch of people, bunch of call guys. They want to try to start using my shells, which I mean, I'm tickled to death. I want them to. I think they'll like them. I think they'll use a lot of them. I think like black label game calls, dead end game calls. There's this guy, I can't think of his name. There's a few, and they're going to start Pistol Creek. They're wanting to start shooting them and stuff like that. And I mean, I'll use their stuff if I can run them.
Yeah,
if I like them. I
Mhm.
mean, right now I
Yeah.
got something I like, and
Well, a diaphragm call is very specific to a person
Right.
too.
well, yeah. I mean, you take your mouth
Yep.
and your teeth, and like I could tell. It's funny because like when I was younger, I blew a Woodhaven.
Yep.
I think it was a Copperhead, Woodhaven Copperhead.
I
Blew it for
call.
years, and then they come out with the Toxic Orange, and then I ran it for years, and it's the Ghost Cut, and it was almost, and I still like the Toxic Orange. That's probably my second. That's my second. I'll have them in my vest with, because they're more readily available.
Yeah.
But yeah, I if we're going in the morning, I'm gonna have that. I got a couple of them left, but I
There you
need some
go.
more.
There you go. Just a backup.
Yeah,
Just in
I
case.
I like to, if I'm going somewhere or whatever. Like I don't, if I'm hunting a few days in a row, I'll use the same one. But
Yeah.
if I'm going
Back
a
into
week
that
in
same area.
between, I'm gonna get a new one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna run a new one. I
Yep.
don't like breaking them apart and everything like that, because you stretch them out usually. And
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So you got the opportunity to kill a 200-inch buck. I don't even know why I'm asking him this question now.
I'm gonna kill a 200-inch buck,
Or
because I'm gonna go kill some turkeys later.
no, you can only do one. 200-inch buck or a turkey grand slam in 1 year. Which one you taking? You can only do one.
Oh,
In your lifetime.
in my
In
lifetime,
your lifetime.
I done killed one right at 180 in Yale County. So that's probably a 200-incher in most people's.
Most people's. Yeah, exactly.
Man, I don't know, dude.
You ever killed a grandson?
Mm-mm.
What do you like?
I got to go kill a Merriam.
Hmm.
And
You killed an Osceola?
Yeah, me and Hetty, we went down there. And
Oh yeah, the last year, right?
Yeah, I've killed 2. I've killed 2 Osceolas, and bunch of.
Killed a Rio and
Honestly,
Easterns. I love killing.
I want to go kill a Merriam and be done with it, because I don't really that hunt like. I've killed some hybrid Merriams like Rios and Merriam, but not like a true Merriam. And I've been out. I was out there one time, and I think I had the opportunity to kill one and I didn't because I thought, why not want to, kill this? But I want to go out there and kill one and be done with it and come back so I can just hunt in the wood and hunt easterns. I mean, I don't really care about hunting any of these other turkeys. I mean, I want to go Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri.
I'm not saying it's not a challenge to kill the birds, but the eastern bird is definitely a
Man, I
it's
just like hunting them where they're at.
Yeah.
I mean, the fingers and the ridges and stuff like that. When you get one of them things fired up, coming up out of a holler, and he's walking up that point and he's coming right to you, it's like it don't get any better than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the answer?
You can only do one. Man, I'll probably go kill them turkeys.
Yeah. I understand.
But I think I could do both if I really wanted to. If I set my mind to it.
I could do
If I set my mind to it. If I killed the 200-inch deer, I'd feel pretty confident I could do the other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I definitely think it's probably harder to kill a 200-inch
Oh,
deer.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, unless you're paying for a guy to hunt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So
I feel like you could probably scrap around and go kill your Grand Slam on
I
public
don't know,
land.
man. In one season, though?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not in one
That's a tall
season.
task.
I know a lot of people.
Yeah, true. Exactly.
I know a lot of people.
All right, so tell the people. Ammo loader, custom ammo loader right here. What's your turkey hunting setup? Front to back, gun, choke, shell. I'm sure you got several.
I got
I
got
a
all
pile
of them.
Yeah, but I want
If I was going to go hunting in the morning, what am I going to
what
carry?
you picking up? How's it rigged?
I'm going to go upstairs.
Okay.
And I'm going to get my Super Black Eagle 1.
Okay.
That Chase dipped. Looks awesome too. It's the only one you've done like that, ain't it? That green.
With the green.
What is it?
I did the Jesse James green on the metal.
Yeah.
And with green leaf.
Oh, that
stocks.
matches that green perfect.
It looks good.
Yep. Yep.
Dip the whole sight too.
Yep. That's
so I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna get that with
what optic you got on there?
It's a 512 whole sight.
Oh, okay.
It's 20. And this is what I told him. He was trying to get me to get a whole sun to put on my son's 20 gauge. He's got an ultralight 20 gauge, but I've had that. It's like 20 years old. That EOTech that's on that.
Yep.
This will be year 24. Me carrying that Super Black Eagle 1. That thing has killed a pile of them, bud.
I bet.
But I'd go upstairs. I'd get that thing, and it's got that Rob Roberts Raptor in it. And honestly, between it and the Indian Creek 665, I couldn't really tell a big difference. Just that choke looked cool.
Yeah.
In the end of it.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as patterning, I couldn't tell
the
nickel's difference, and they shot the same.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to re-zero.
Like you say, everybody's gun's different. Every load's different. Those Indian Creeks are pretty hard to beat across the board.
But as far as the shell, I shoot that 2.5 ounce, 7x9, and
3-inch.
3.5.
3.5. Yeah.
If I could make a 4, I'd shoot it.
Like a Roman candle.
Yeah,
in
that's
there.
what people. It cracks me up so much. Of course, they're like, "What 20 gauge you like?" I was like, "Man, the 2 ounce 9s are really good." And of course, as far as 20 gauge patterning, I think they're probably the best loadout. Of course, I'm partial, but I've seen patterns across the board from all different companies and everything like that, and it's just, I don't think nobody's doing that. Yeah. Nobody's putting them on paper and killing like that.
Yeah.
But they say, "Well, what do you shoot?" And I tell them, I was like, "Well, I just shoot 3.5," and they're like, "What? Like, you're not shooting a 410?" I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Out here to
like,
kill.
That ain't even me, dog.
Not here to kill.
Yeah.
I ain't out here to...
When I go, it's serious.
Now, don't get me wrong. What the performance they're getting out of those 410s, 20 gauge, 28 gauges is
unreal.
Yeah. I mean, you're out pattern lead shot 12 gauges all day long.
Oh,
it's phenomenal.
Yeah, but it ain't.
I'm with you.
You
still,
when you let that thing bark, son, it leaves a mark.
Yeah.
On both ends.
Clears timber out of the way and everything.
Yeah. I ain't going to tell you how far I've shot them, but it's impressive. You get Hettinger cornered up sometime, you can ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
We love your products. Love seeing you come in the shop, period.
Oh, yeah.
For anybody that doesn't know,
I
Austin,
appreciate you guys, man. I ain't kidding,
man.
Chase. Like, I was just hoping you'd give me a chance, and it's turned out good.
Well,
I hope it's worth it to you
Oh
having them
yeah,
in
oh,
there.
absolutely. We have
absolutely,
people
man.
come to the shop that just,
Yeah,
I mean, they hopefully end up coming for other reasons later, but we have
Yeah,
people come to the shop literally just for
yeah.
your ammo.
Well,
your
And
and
ammo and Indian Creek
yeah,
chokes, man. I
yeah,
mean, that's makes turkey
that's the
season big
truth.
for us.
man, and I ain't in this. Speaking of NWTF, man, I got so pumped. There's a guy that I met last year named Tyler Hoggard. He works at Indian Creek. Man, that joker wore my hat in their booth.
That's awesome.
And I was like, man, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Like it just like
Yep.
made me feel so good.
Yep.
Them that guy was wearing my hat in their booth,
Yeah.
and I was like, man, that was kind of like a surreal
Yep.
moment, like, wow.
Also, it's good advertisement.
Well, oh yeah,
Hmm.
especially down there. I mean, and hey,
Hmm.
don't get me wrong, I sent a bunch of folks over there to buy some 562s for their 20 gauge,
Yep.
but
Yep.
yeah, it was really
Yeah.
cool.
Well, anyway, anybody that knows me and Chase but haven't met you, I'm just tell you right now, Austin, good as gold. I mean, you can walk up to him. He's going to talk to anybody anytime. He's going to treat you like he's known you forever, and he's going to be honest with you,
Yeah.
and he's going to be enjoyable to talk to. So, hopefully you don't get bombarded now.
Well,
But
no, I mean that's what we
I
try
think
to.
you want people to come and ask you some
Well,
stuff.
and
Yeah.
and and that's the part of right now, at this point in the business and stuff like that. Like my personal cell phone number is on my business cards,
There you go.
and I get calls. I know I've had some while we've been sitting here wanting to talk turkey or talk chokes and shells and stuff like that, and I just tell people like it is. People, everybody has their own opinion
Yeah.
on shells and chokes and stuff like that, but I don't. If they ask me, I'm going to tell them. I
Yeah.
mean, regardless what they want to hear, I'm going to tell them what I think.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm able to talk to those people. I'm able to field those calls. And visit with people, and that's important
Oh yeah.
to me. Is I want if something's wrong or if somebody has a question, I want them to be able to call and talk to me. I don't want them calling and talking to somebody else.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
With
you're.
something with my name on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the biggest thing I think as business owners is that whether it's something they want to hear or not, you just got to be honest with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're talking from our personal experience,
Yeah.
and they're calling to ask us
About
our
our product.
opinion. Yeah, and our products. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to tell you our experience and what we know.
Oh yeah.
Period.
Yep.
That's as simple as that. We're not going to make anything up, or we're not going to try to steer you the wrong way. Is it always right? Maybe not, but it's our experience with
Mhm.
it and what we believe. So.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that speaks for itself in
Yep.
your
Yeah.
in your
Absolutely.
products
Absolutely.
when you
Well,
do
when
that.
someone
Yep.
calls that number and they're probably not going to know you're going to pick the phone up, but when
Mm-mm.
you do, it speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
just
yeah,
as a
they think
consumer,
they're
you
going to be
think about it.
talking to.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't know how big or small we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
that was another thing that was cool. Meeting those people and then being like, oh, he's the one that you make these, and so many people like when they come by and bought shields, they didn't even know I hand loaded them.
Yeah.
They thought they were
Yeah.
Boxed. Or
printed
something.
run off a assembly line, and I'm like, no.
You ever do like prank calls, be like, hey, let me get you over to my other department. And then it's like you just pick up on the other line, it's just
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. It was a
Make
joke
it
at
sound bigger.
NWTF. Yeah, it was a joke that Pitts would say. He'd say, yeah, if you call this number and it's some Indian guy asking about your extended car warranty, it's not him.
Yeah.
So it'll be that guy you talk to.
Well, maybe we can get you back in after turkey season and talk about like maybe a 2025 spring turkey season recap.
Man, I'd
Kind of see
like
how.
to.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
absolutely. Think about the experiences.
Hopefully
And
we have some stories to
yeah,
tell
yeah. I bet
or
you.
not tell.
I bet you'll
Hopefully.
have a few.
Man, I hope
I
so.
bet you have a few both. Some we
I
can
hope
and can't tell.
I hope
Yeah.
not. I hope they're all good.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Well, hey, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
And
Thanks for having me, man.
absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
It was fun, and glad to want you to come back.
All right. Appreciate
Guys,
it.
thanks for listening. Any questions? Again, like, subscribe for those people now, right? Um, any questions or anything you want to elaborate on, comment in the section. Us at 3H and I'm sure Austin both would be
Mhm.
glad to answer some questions down there. So we check them regularly. So, all right, guys, thanks for listening.